online course that has helped us, a book that has touched us, and a proverb that we found very wise. And every Monday, we broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So feel free to join us. And please do share this episode for two reasons. The first one is so we can touch even more people if you find this useful. And also to have the opportunity to win a yearly subscription to the Stand Up, Stand Out, our online course on public speaking and presentation skills. So let's start and see who is our winner for the online course. And you can share it either now, live as you're watching it, or you can share it as you're watching the recording for the next 6 to 7 days, just before the next episode. Our winner for today's episode is Despina Michael from LinkedIn. Congratulations, Despina. And please do get in touch with Melissa in order for you to claim your prize. So what do we have today? Kalimera, George, always first. Great to see you here. What do we have today? We start with our online course. Our online course is titled Training with Stories by Paul A. Smith. Let me show you the course. This is a LinkedIn course, as you can see from here. It's a short and concise course. And what's the reason that I decided to use this course? It's because through my 20-year experience in training and development, I have found out that when I used content, it was always, or in the majority of cases, dry. And if you want to get dry content and transform it into something memorable, into something meaningful, into something that people will take home and will remember, then you need to use stories. And stories apply for all types of learners. They apply for those who are auditory, who like to hear and learn things much better. For those who are visual, like myself, who want to see things, to understand them. Or for those who are kinesthetic, for those who want to grasp things, touch on things in order to learn. So stories apply for all types of learners. And this is the reason we chose this course for today, because most of our audience is B2B, business to business. We have a lot of managers and leaders. And in order to touch people, you need to be able to drive your message through in a way that is memorable, in a way that sticks. So, 3 main uses of storytelling in training. It's to teach something, it's to move people to do something, or to connect with your audience. So let's start with the first one, to teach something. When you're trying to make a point, one of the best ways to do so is to storytell. And you can do that either by storytelling and then driving your point home, or you can make your point and then mention a story in order to make your audience more gullible and in order to emphasize the point you just made. A lot of case studies is to teach. This is what business schools or great business schools like the Harvard Business School or IMD is using. They're using a lot of case studies. What's the difference between a case study and a simple story? A case study is a story, but you do not reveal or you do not come up with the lessons. You let your audience come up with their own lessons, come up with their own learning. And this way you drive it through. And this is the reason that sometimes you hear that this person is a great trainer. It is a trainer, or he or she is a trainer that became a facilitator, because a trainer, as they told us back in Ireland when I was very young doing a training course, trainers get paid well, but facilitators get paid 3 times as much or even more. What's the difference? Trainers just tell you what to do. Facilitators, they facilitate learning. They let you come up with your own way of learning and come up with your own conclusions. So using case studies is a way to become a facilitator rather than a trainer. The second way is to move people to action. How do you move people to action? Through success or failure stories. As you can see now on your screen, by looking for someone who has been in a similar situation as the audience. So instead of getting your audience into that situation and getting them to fail, you help them by simulating the situation in order to do your best as a facilitator, as a trainer, to help them succeed. So you find a story or a case study, for that matter, with someone who has been in a similar situation. The third one, and this should be used very often, especially with audience that you don't know, is to connect with your audience. At the beginning of a training session, and it took me years to understand this, people feel a bit uncomfortable. You as the trainer might feel a bit uncomfortable because there is no rapport at the beginning. So you need to build a rapport with your audience in order to gain the trust, in order for your audience to let go. That's why it's called icebreaker. You need to break that ice. So stories, without revealing all your skeletons in your closet, but personal stories help people connect with you. It will also help facilitate learning so you can move to the teaching part and to the action part. And what's the best way to use storytelling in training? It took me many, many years to find out. The best way is not to reveal, to avoid revealing the lessons, as I said earlier, and let your audience come up with their own lessons. So let me share a story, a true story about Walmart. Walmart is one of the biggest multinational department stores, the biggest in the world, and H-E-B grocery stores is one of their competitors. And H-E-B grocery stores were looking up to Walmart as the biggest in the industry. So Charles Budd, who's the CEO, called the CEO, now the late Sam Walton, and told him that, is it okay with you if we bring our leadership team to Texas, to one of your stores, in order for you to give us some leadership lessons? Now, let me repeat that H-E-B grocery stores is one of Walmart's biggest competitor. And Sam Walton said, yes, you can bring them over. So Charles Budd took 10 of his best leaders and went to Texas. And at the time they arrived, Sam Walton was serving a customer. It was a lady. She was looking for an iron covering board. And Sam Walton acknowledged that Charles was inside the store. He said, hello, can you please wait for 5 or 6 minutes? And he continued serving the customer. And after 6 minutes or so, the lady left with the ironing covering board, went to the teller to pay, and Sam Walton went straight to Charles Budd with an excited face, and he said, Charles, I just found a way to make 1 million in sales because I have found a niche in the market with ironing boards, with ironing covering boards. And then he continued greeting his competitors. And this is exactly where Walmart stops the story for its new hires. And they asked him the question that you will now see on your screen. And the question says, what lessons about company values did you take away from this story? And instead of telling them how they should behave, they asked them, what lessons in terms of values, company values, did you take from this true story? And there are many lessons. And you can drop in the comments the lessons you got from this story. And please drop them. I will continue, but I will look at them later on. But let's look some of the lessons that we get, derive from this story. First and foremost, Sam Walton didn't see the H-E-B grocery store and Charles Budd as his competitors, but he saw them as players in the same industry. So if you help the same industry flourish, and that's why they were giving them leadership lessons, they were revealing some of their secrets, not all of them, but some of them, then you help the industry grow. Secondly, Sam Walton paid attention to the lady who was buying a $20, $30 an ironing cupboard, an ironing board, and he let the team of 10 competitors wait. What's more important is to serve the single customer, is to understand where the lifeblood of your organization comes from, and it comes from that single, even small in terms of money-making customer. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, is that Sam Walton was learning in the process of serving the customer. He was doing a market research. He understood that in that month, he can sell 1 million ironing board covers because of the need that he saw in that lady. And he was right. They sold 1 million in that particular month. And there are many other lessons you can draw from. But storytelling, and the story I just told you, is perhaps a summary of what we talked up to now. Use case studies, use stories, let people come up with their own conclusions. Don't drive them through, but just illustrate the story, tell the story, and let them come up with their own conclusions. You never know. At the end, you might find a conclusion that you never have come up with as a trainer or as a facilitator, and you can learn some things as well. Now, emotion. Emotion is very important. As I said in one of my videos, the heart is closer to the pocket than the brain is. People buy emotionally and then they justify logically. So we need to drive some emotion. We need to have emotion inside our stories. What's the best way, or the simplest way to do it? First of all, tell me. Describe it to me. I was upset at the time. I was mesmerized. I was emotional. I was enthusiastic. Second, show me. Don't tell me I was happy. Tell me exactly how you were feeling at the moment. There were tears coming down my eyes. I was yelling. I was so upset. I was yelling. So describe the emotion. Then involve me. Let me know more about the characters. Imagine if the Titanic started after 90 minutes from the time it started. We wouldn't be so involved with the main characters. We wouldn't have felt their passion. We wouldn't have felt that loss when they drowned. So involve me with the characters. Describe the character inside the story as meticulously as you can in order to create emotions for me. And last but not least, make a dialogue. I'll give you my example. When I'm driving stories, when I'm telling stories in my seminars or keynotes, I always tell them, if it's a personal story, I always tell them I might have looked confident on the outside, but but this is what I was telling myself on the inside. Michael, oof, you're sweating. I hope they cannot see you. Michael, I hope you make it. So give us the inner dialogue. By giving me the inner dialogue, you release emotions outside. So tell me, show me, involve me, and last but not least, give me that dialogue. You might do some of it, or you can do all of it. So the $1 million question, where do I find the stories? First and foremost, start a story wish list. Collect stories. Let me now show you what I do. I use an Apple laptop, and this is in the notes. These are my notes. I have a story about the 4 oxen and the lion, a story about trust, a story about the 300 Spartans, a great story about Alcoholics Anonymous. I collect stories. This is my personal collection. But no man or woman is an island. So one of the best ways to find out about exciting, interesting, emotional stories is to ask others as well. So ask others. I can ask Melissa about a story. I can ask my wife, Christine. I can ask my mentees. And before I go on stage, a long time before, weeks before, I ask people, in order to describe this emotion, or in order to build a rapport with my audience who are insurance agents, who are this and that, what story would you have used in the post-pandemic era or in the pandemic era? What story? And last but not least, read books. Inside books, there are marvels. There are stories hidden, and stories can be revealed. And these stories can make you a better storyteller, and they can increase your repertoire of stories. And since this is a program about sharing an online course and a book that has touched us, the book you're about to see on your screen now is my #1 favorite book when it comes to stories. It is titled Chicken Soup for the Soul by Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, and Amy Newmark. This is one of the best-selling books in the world about storytelling. And if you want to recite great stories, first of all, you need to read great stories. So that's where you will find. That's one of the resources where you will find them. If you want more resources, email me directly at michael@michaelvirardi.com or at admin@michaelvirardi.com. Email Melissa, and we will be more than happy to give you more resources if you truly care about being a leader that can touch people or a manager that can be more persuasive. So now let's move on to our proverb of the day. It comes from a person who has taken the world by storm, by Israeli Yuval Noah Harari, who has written some amazing books. I read the books. It took a long time to read them, but I managed to hold on to a lot of the information because he used storytelling, even though Sapiens and Homo Sapiens were huge books. And he says the following: humans think in terms, he means, of stories, and we try to make sense of the world by telling stories. So if Harari is urging us to tell stories, and if he believes that humans think in terms of stories, use statistics, use numbers, but by all means, my dear friends, use storytelling if you want to be an effective speaker, trainer, leader, or manager. Thank you very much. So now let's go on to our chat and let's see who's here. Melissa, can you bring us some of our chat? George, how you doing, my friend from Greece? Good morning, Michael. Good morning, George. My friend Vicky Nemitsa is here. Kalimera, Michael. Kalimera, Vicky. Hope to see you in person too. Good morning, Michael. You're an excellent example of sharing stories in order to emphasize your message. Thank you, Sodia. And now I know you're connected to George Ioannou after looking at his stories. Now that I know that you're friends, great people hang together, stay together, flock together. Savia, good morning to all. How are you doing, Savia? I seen you change your picture, your photo. It's with your husband there. That's what love is. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Christalamou. Always present. Who else is here? Melissa. Socrates. Good morning, everyone. Socrates, always polite. Good morning, Socrates. Dear friends and fans, I have to keep the promise to my wife and also to Melissa, who has a young baby at home to take care of. Follow us on YouTube, please. It will be a pleasure to have you here. Romania is here. Melissa. We have to say hi to Ana. Good morning from sunny Romania. Good morning from sunny Limassol and sunny Pila. Thank you for your great ideas and resources. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to serve you. Thank you very much, dear friends and fans. Hope to see you soon here next Monday. Take good care. Bye, and thank you also